To navigate to the Inspector login screen, go to tisinspects.com. Link in the description. Click the Login button at the top right of the screen. This will take you to the portal login. Enter your username and password and click Login. You can also save the login page to your browser's favorites and go there directly instead of navigating through the main website. After logging in, you will be on the Inspector home screen. There are several features to be aware of. Starting in the left column, the Recent Activity tab includes orders in process, which is total number of orders in the Inspector queue. You'll also find the number of overdue orders. Below that, under Current Totals, you'll find new orders, which have been assigned but not yet been accepted, and finally returned orders, which are inspections that have been sent back by QC for additional work or with questions. All of the blue numbers are clickable and filter to just those orders. For example, click 3 under Overdue to filter for overdue orders only. Scroll down to see the 3 overdue orders currently in the queue. The New Comments tool provides a view of all new comments. Click View to filter for only orders with new comments, and scroll down to view the list of orders. The question mark icons indicate that a new comment has been posted. For a quick overview, you can click Display Last Comment, followed by the Retrieve button. This will cause the comment text to display below the order and allow you to read the most recent comment text. To respond quickly without opening the order, click the comment icon. A new window will open, displaying the comment tool. Here you can review all the comments on the order and type your reply in the text box. When finished, click the Submit button to post the comment to the order. The new comment list will update after a comment is read or answered, so that it always displays the remaining comments that are new. Click Home to return to the Inspector home screen. On the left, below the New Comments button, you will find the Go to Order section. This section allows searches for individual orders, based on the order ID or other unique info. The Memos tab on the right is updated periodically with important information, changes, or updates based on client needs and the state of the industry. Finally, the Width button at the upper right adjusts the screen aspect ratio. This can be useful if the website is not displaying correctly on your device. To the right of the Home tab, you'll find the Orders tab, which provides access to all of the orders in the Inspector queue. The default view shows all due orders in the current inventory. The Orders page also allows sorting of the current items in the inventory. The orders can be sorted several different ways. Starting at the top, they can be sorted by status group, simply by clicking on a new status, and then clicking the Retrieve button, which will pull up only orders with that particular status. Inspections can also be sorted by date, whether it's date due, date assigned, or another option. You select the actual dates using the calendar widgets. You can also search for orders by OID, status, policy number, and more. Simply select the field from the Search field drop-down. Then type the search terms in the search box, and then click Retrieve. Scrolling down to the list of due orders, we can see that the orders are displayed in a rows and columns format. The Unique Order ID column is listed on the left. Notice the text for each order number is blue. You can click the text to access the individual order. Next, there will typically be a Comments column. New comments will appear as question mark icons, which you can click on and answer as needed. Remember, you can always click Display Last Comment text to view the last comment on any order. After the comments, you'll find the Due Date column. Keep in mind that any of these columns can be sorted by clicking on the column name. Click once for ascending order, and click again for descending order. This is useful because the best practice is to do the oldest orders first. Following the due date column, you'll find the order status column, then visit date, policy number, and other relevant information. If there are a large number of current orders, you can click the Freeze Headings box, which will ensure that as you scroll through the list, the column headings remain visible. Finally, the orders are color-coded to aid in prioritizing work. The exact method for sorting orders and prioritizing work is up to the inspector, but the following rule of thumb should prove useful, especially if the inventory is large. Red orders are typically late orders, or orders that are about to become late. Black orders are not yet late. Purple orders are rush orders, where expedited service has been requested by the client. So the best practice is to focus on purple orders first, then on red orders, and finally on black orders. One final note: orders that have an assigned status will only have that status until they are clicked on. Once you click on an assigned order and view it, the status will change to retrieved, letting the staff know that you have viewed the order. If you're not able to accept an order, it's important that you post a comment right away stating that you can't complete the job, so the order can be reassigned. In addition to the Home and Orders tabs, there are two other tabs that may be useful. These are the Help and Sample Reports tabs. The content of these tabs may change over time, but generally speaking, the Help tab contains resources to assist in the inspection process. The Sample Reports tab contains a bank of sample reports for various types of risks. These are available for reference when needed and can be helpful in cases where an inspector is visiting a type of risk that is new to them. From the list of individual orders, select the order you want to work on by clicking the blue text of the OID. This will bring you to the individual order screen. There are several areas here to be familiar with. The Previous and Next buttons at the top of the order page will navigate to the next order in the list, or the previous order, and bring up the order page for that order. The View Report button will bring up the report in its current state. This is useful for quick checks and final review of a report. Click the button to view the report. The report will come up in a view-only mode, so it can't be edited in this format, only viewed. The Return button takes you back to the list of all orders in the queue. Generally speaking, it's not advisable to check the Scroll to Next box or the Auto box. On the left, the Order Information tab contains basic information about the order. The audit log in this section is available for reference, but is not typically used in the course of performing an inspection. The Comments box is also in this section. We can see that this is a new comment because of the highlighted word New. The Comments section is the primary form of communication for any particular order. To access the Comments page, click on the blue text. This will open the Comments box. You can scroll down to see any previous comments, which are all recorded for reference. You can also add any new comments or respond to questions by typing in the Comments box. To send the comment, simply click the Submit button, which will alert the staff that a new comment has been posted. If the comment is only for your own reference, you can check the Note to Self box on the right, although typically that's not needed. You can just click the Submit button. Now we can see that a new comment has been posted here, and clicking on it again shows the new comment visible in the list of comments for the order. Next, in the left column is the Actions Taken section. This contains a drop-down of common actions that occur in the course of an inspection. To use it, select the action that's appropriate based on the work that's been done. For example, set visit date If you have a scheduled visit date, select the date and time as appropriate and add any relevant notes. You can also click the word Now to enter the current date and time automatically, which can be useful if you've just made a phone call or taken another action. Click the Add button to add the action to the report. Below Actions Taken, there is the Complete Inspection section. Visit date will populate once a date is scheduled for the site visit. Under Forms, you'll find the various forms that need to be completed for this inspection. Under Images and Attachments, you'll find the Upload button, which is for uploading photos and will be covered later. Photos required and diagram required are very important because they indicate if photos or a diagram are needed on the report. Photos required will almost always be yes. Diagram required may be yes or no, depending on the report. If it is no, no diagram is required. Photos will display how many photos have been uploaded to the report. Diagrams will display how many diagrams have been uploaded to the report. Attachments will display how many attachments are uploaded to the report. Client order attachment will display any attachments added by the client. If this number is not 0, it indicates that there is an attachment on the order that should be reviewed prior to doing the inspection. The Create Diagram button brings you to the diagram screen, which is covered in a separate video. Finally, the Submit Inspection button at the bottom submits the report for review. It should only be clicked once the report is completely finished. Scrolling down, we find the Order Request form. Keep in mind that the order form is a dynamic page and can change based on client needs or changes in the industry. Depending on when you're watching the video, the order form may look different than what's displayed. But all the basics still apply. It's very important to review the order form in full before going to the inspection, because what's on the order form can change how the inspection needs to be conducted. And having everything organized can prevent a lot of rework and wasted time. On the left, we see the client name. The underwriter will typically be listed next for reference. The broker is listed below the underwriter, along with their contact info. On the right is the policy number and the insured name. The address to be inspected is here. Any additional addresses for this inspection would appear here. And then there is the inspection contact and phone number. Additional emails or contacts may be listed below as well. Scrolling down again, we find more basic information about the inspection. Be sure to look at nature of business such operations in particular, as this indicates what the client believes is at the building. This section is not always accurate. For example, it may say restaurant, and when the inspector visits the building, they find a vacant unit. That's not a mistake. It's just something to note in the report. Below the nature of business are various coverage sections. These areas indicate the coverages that should be reported on. The basic coverages are listed under policy type. The property section details info about any property coverage. Liability coverages are indicated in the liability section. Crime or inland marine coverage info will be displayed in these sections. Finally, the additional instructions special coverages section should be referenced on each inspection. This section is not always filled out, but it's important to scroll down and look at it because it contains specific information requested by the underwriter for the inspection. These questions all need to be addressed on the report, and reviewing them before the inspection ensures that the correct information will be gathered during the site visit. On the home screen for the order, scroll down to the Images and Attachments section and click on the Upload button. This will bring up the Photos page for the report. To return to the home screen for the report, you can simply click the View Request button on the upper right of the screen. To upload photos, there are two options. The first is uploading multiple photos at once. The second is uploading individual photos or attachments. Uploading multiple photos is the most efficient. To upload multiple photos, click on the word multiple. This will bring up a new window containing the photo uploader. You can add photos from your computer by clicking the Add button. Navigate to the photos for this particular report. Select all of the photos you wish to upload. Click the Open button. This will add all of the photos to the upload queue. You can scroll down and make sure that all the photos are present. To keep the names of the photos as the captions on the report, be sure to check the Use File Name for Caption button at the top. Finally, click the green Upload arrow at the bottom to upload the selected photos to the report. You'll see the number of files waiting for upload here, along with the total size of the files and the progress of the upload. Once all the photos have been uploaded, you can scroll down and see the uploaded files below. Click the Close button at the top to exit the window and return to the photo screen. Scrolling down again, you'll see all of the photos are on the report. As a side note, you can also see there is a current client order attachment. This was mentioned in the previous section of the video. You can click on this to view it, and should do so before visiting the risk to ensure that all the info required by the client is gathered. Scrolling back down, we see all the photos that are on the report. For each individual photo, you can edit the caption. You can delete the photo, and you can rotate the photo. Keep in mind that photos that appear on the report in the wrong orientation, for example upside down, can be rotated back to normal. But after the rotation, they may still appear in the wrong orientation. This does not mean they will appear in the wrong orientation on the report itself. It's not critical for every photo to be exactly upright, as long as it's clear what the photo is showing. Clicking on a photo will blow it up for better viewing. You can click on the word Large to the right of the photo, or on the word Report to see different sizes. Finally, the Hazard button may appear on some reports depending on the client's preferences. For example, if there is a hazard shown in a photo, such as these Federal Pacific electric breakers, when you upload the photos, you would check the hazard box. Checking the box will make adding photos to recommendations in a future section much easier. Finally, you can clear all captions, check all deletes, or do other batch actions. If any changes are made to the photos, be sure to click the Process Changes button on the top right to save your work. The other way to upload photos is individually. For example, if there were a single photo that needed to be uploaded, or if there were a diagram or attachment that needed to be uploaded, you would use this section. This works best for single files only. First, select the type of file you're adding. Then, to add the file, click the Browse button, and then select the individual file that needs to be added. For example, this photo of breakers. Check the Use File Name for Caption button, or type the caption you want in the caption box. Then click the Upload button at the bottom. Keep in mind that different types of uploads may require different file types. You can find reference to those requirements on the right-hand side of the screen, in the Instructions column. Once all the photos have been uploaded and the hazards have been checked, click View Request to return to the home screen. To complete the inspection forms, scroll down to the Form section and click each of the forms available. Clicking on the blue text in the form name will open the form. Scroll down to see the form and complete it. This video will not review every question on the form. If you have questions about anything specific, you should contact the TIS office. This video is just an overview of some features on the form that may be helpful. First, the narrative section. Keep in mind that any blue text on the form can be hovered over for additional instructions or information. The narrative section is at the top of most reports. Clients almost universally expect a detailed narrative. Additional instructions regarding narrative can be found by hovering over the blue text. The Special Underwriter Concerns section is another important section that can be easily overlooked. This section pulls information from the Special Underwriter Concerns box on the order form. If there is text in this box, it should be responded to in the Special Underwriter Concerns response section below. If there are no Special Underwriter Concerns, the response section can be omitted by clicking the Omit button. Scrolling down, we see that some sections of the form can be duplicated by clicking Duplicate. This is only needed if there are multiple buildings or multiple versions of an exposure that are significantly different. For example, multiple restaurants. Duplicate does not have to be used if there are multiple buildings on site that are all identical. For example, if there are 15 apartment buildings, all of which have the same construction and the same basic details, only one construction section would be necessary. Form sections also do not need to be duplicated for very small buildings like garages or storage sheds. Just as some sections of the form can be duplicated, other sections can be omitted. Generally speaking, forms are meant to contain sections for most of the common things that might be encountered during an inspection, but for most inspections, not all sections will apply. This means that a lot of the sections on any given report can be omitted and do not have to be filled out. For example, if no swimming pool is present at a property, the pool section can be omitted. There would be no need to fill out the swimming pool hazard section, and it can be safely omitted as well. If professional liability is not checked as a coverage, that section can be omitted. Products liability would typically be completed if general liability is a coverage, but if that's not the case, or if it doesn't apply to the operation, it can also be omitted. If there are no restaurants, the commercial cooking sections can be omitted. So several sections on any given report can generally be omitted right away. The opinion of risk section is present on most forms, but it may appear in different parts of the form depending on the client. It's important to understand the rule of thumb for filling this out. The clients expect that if there are any recommendations of any kind, the opinion of risk will be checked as good with recommendations noted, or as poor, depending on the risk. The opinion of risk cannot be checked as good or excellent unless there are no recommendations. Rating a building poor, in some cases, can trigger additional steps on the client side and should only be done for buildings that are in very bad condition or with very serious hazards. Another feature that can be helpful in quickly completing the forms is the search feature, which can be used to search the text of the report for keywords. Using Command F or a similar keyboard shortcut to bring up text search, type the search term that you're looking for in the box, hit Enter, and that term will be found on the form, helping you quickly navigate the various questions. In this case, we're looking at the stab lock breaker question. Here's the blue text, which you can hover over for additional detail. Many questions will have automatic recommendations that appear depending on the response. So, at this building, there happen to be stab lock breakers present. The question is the risk free of stab lock breakers? Click No, and an automatic recommendation will appear. The recommendation box is already filled out with a general recommendation, which in most cases is sufficient and can be left unchanged. The recommendation can also be edited as needed to better address the hazards on site, or it can be deleted if, for some reason, it doesn't apply in a particular case. If the recommendation box appears and it is blank, you can enter text corresponding to the appropriate recommendation. The best practice is to enter recommendations in the recommendation boxes that appear on the question about that particular hazard. It can be very confusing to put recommendations for one question in a recommendation box for a separate question. This is best avoided to save time and confusion. If you have clicked this box, be sure that the recommendation in this box applies to Federal Pacific stab lock breakers. Don't put another rec for some other hazard in the FP stab lock recommendation box. All recommendation text entered on the form will appear on the recommendations form, which is accessed from the home page in the form section. Be sure to save your work before navigating to any other pages by clicking Save Form. Also be sure to click Submit Form when you have finished the report. If there is any interruption in internet service while the saving process is taking place, it can delete information from the report. So be sure that your internet or cell service is working before hitting Save. To navigate to the Recommendations form, click View Requests to return to the home screen, and scroll down and click Recommendations under Forms. Scroll down to see the recommendations currently on the report. You can see here that the recommendation that was present on the general form is present here as well. This recommendation can be edited in this box, or you can add additional recommendations by clicking Add Another Recommendation and typing the new recommendation in the box. This is useful for recommendations that the order form may not directly address. Every inspection is different, and it's important to capture all the hazards in the report. Finally, on some reports, you'll see an Image ID box with a drop-down menu. This drop-down will contain any images that had the hazard box checked when the photos were uploaded. If hazard was not checked for any image, it will contain every image that's been uploaded. To add an image to a recommendation, select the image from the drop-down and make sure that the thumbnail of the image you've selected corresponds to the recommendation. If the thumbnail does not appear, you can click View to see it. In general, if this drop-down menu is present, most recommendations should have photos. The only exception would be recommendations that are addressing a lack of something. For example, if there are no fire extinguishers on site and the recommendation is to install them, there would not be a photo associated with that recommendation because there was nothing to photograph. Again, remember to save the form before navigating away and to click Submit Form once the form has been completed and is ready for submission. Finally, if there are no recommendations for the inspection, be sure to visit the Recommendations form and omit the Recommendations page by clicking Omit Section. This makes it clear that there are no recommendations and prevents clients from wondering if there should be recommendations and they were just missed. Once the recommendation section is complete, hit Submit Form. To move the form to complete, once all forms have been completed and saved, and all photos have been uploaded, and all diagrams have been added, click the Submit Inspection button at the bottom of the section to send the inspection to Quality Control for review. In some cases, an inspection submitted to Quality Control for review may be returned with additional questions or comments. This can happen because a portion of the inspection is not complete, or in some cases, because a client has looked at the inspection and needs more information. Returned orders will appear in the Returned section under Current Totals on the home screen. To access the returned order, simply click on the blue number and scroll down to see the order that has been returned. Returned orders can also be accessed by clicking the Order tab, scrolling down, and finding orders with the status of Return Inspect. It's very important to address any orders with a Return Inspect status quickly, because a Return Inspect status indicates that additional input is needed to move the order forward. So, if a returned order appears, please open it and address the concerns quickly. Fortunately, The concerns on returned orders are usually quick to address. To resolve a returned inspection, open the order page by clicking on the blue order number, and then open the comments box. The reason for the returned inspection and any questions or next actions will be spelled out in the comments section on the returned order. To resolve a returned inspection, simply read the comments and respond to them, while also making any requested changes to the report as needed. So in this example, the request is to add an additional recommendation for sidewalk cracks in the photos. To resolve this, the inspector would simply open the report and add the requested recommendation. The report would then be resubmitted to quality control. When it is resubmitted, it's important that the inspector add a comment responding to the question that was asked and outlining any changes that have been made to the form. If no comment is added, there's no way for the staff to know what changes have been made or what actions have been taken. If you have questions about the requests being made or the information being asked for on a returned inspection, that should be addressed using the comments box as well. In general, with returned inspections, the most important thing is communication via the comments box so that the issue can be resolved quickly and the order can be moved forward. Finally, to complete the process of resolving the returned report, the inspector would click the Submit Inspection button to move the order back to the quality control team for review. In some cases, on the home screen, an inspector memo may appear. These are important messages regarding client needs or other changes that inspectors should be aware of. They are used as a way to quickly inform all inspectors of a particular issue that affects them. If you see a memo pop up when logging in, please read through it, keeping in mind that it may appear more than once before being taken down. These memos are meant to be a reminder and to be kept in mind when conducting inspection work moving forward. Simply click the Close button on the bottom of the memo to move past it and continue with normal operations.